Yeah, I think the CIS accreditation process has helped move our school forward in a number of ways. First and foremost, a sign of good schooling these days involves continuous improvement. A journey of continuous improvement is what I usually refer to it as. And I think the CIS accreditation process helps validate that journey and the steps along the way, and it confirms if the self-study was done in a proper way, in a real robust way, it confirms what the school is doing well, obviously, and also maybe some areas that it's already identified for improvement.
Well, it all comes down to organization and time, without a doubt. And that is set up by the timeline that's created by CIS when you start planning your accreditation process in the cycle. And I would even go back to the preparatory report. That's the initial stages where you start looking forward, and I think what you do is you build your timeline from that point forward right through to the date when the visiting team or the evaluation team will arrive. Given that, the most important thing is getting out communication, slowly but surely, so people are aware of the process and making sure that they have an understanding of the general idea behind the process. And from there, in our school, what we did is we had a volunteer basis for membership on the self-study domain teams. That was very important to allow that. We wanted a community process. The leadership was heavily involved in the preparatory report, but when it came to the self-study, it really was the members of the school community without direct leadership involvement, though they were there to support. Given that, they had the opportunity to sign up with enough sufficient information about the background about the protocol, and we were fortunate enough that we allowed large teams, and everybody who wished to be on a team was able to be on a committee of their own choice. We had to make very few modifications, and we made a very wise move of making 2 co-chairs to lead each of the committees. That was a powerful outcome because having 2 leaders, you had the flexibility to share the workload. You also had the interaction between the 2 people to move the committees forward. So that was very, very helpful.
The protocol is really well written. It has all the answers you might need, but there's a lot in there. And so my tips to other teams would be, don't expect to have people feel completely comfortable with it after just the first 4-hour training. The best way to learn it is to jump in and start doing it. So while we did provide some upfront training to our chairs, we also met with them monthly so that they could begin to unpack it together. They were able to share amongst each other any challenges or frustrations, what was going well in terms of organizing, how to share the load, and they were a great support to each other, I think, through the process. And at the end, when we were reflecting with them on what they felt was the most valuable thing, they had felt some of those professional conversations among colleagues were the richest part of the process for them. As the process rolled on over the course of the year, we did notice that quite a few of the teams were quite independent. The sense of ownership in the committee chairs was palpable. They also delegated inside their teams, so they gave 2 or 3 people a cluster of standards. They went off, did a draft, collected the evidence, then brought it back. I heard comments that people felt that was less kind of overwhelming than everybody trying to do every standard together. And I think it became clear as the process went on and we were meeting monthly, how committed the people were to the process and how it genuinely did start to feel like huge investment in understanding our school better and understanding the next steps for improvement.
Each of our self-study committees was given the opportunity to respond to the protocol itself and to determine to what extent we fulfill the standards in each of those domains. And above and beyond that, we encourage them to consider, if applicable, ways in which the school can engage in future aspirations within that domain. But we have a very ambitious plan for kind of even taking the school to the next level in the coming, let's say, 10 to 15 years. And I think the accreditation process and future aspirations in particular has actually enabled us to kind of grab onto that and make it more real.
As we go through an evaluation ourselves, as we're getting ready for the self-study, I'm encouraging as many people as we can manage to go and be on visiting teams. Because I'm sure you've heard this, it's probably one of the most valuable professional development experiences, just to be able to see things being done in a different manner. And then it allows that teacher or administrator, when they become part of our self-study team, to again reflect on practices if they've been on a visiting team. I highly recommend it.